Hello viewers, my name's Jordan Golson and this is the new 2023 Range Rover Sport. And it's a little bit different from the regular Range Rover that I reviewed a few months ago. It actually doesn't really have anything shared with it aside from like some buttons here and like the screen, but everything else, the sheet metal on the outside, the way the interior is laid out, all that is different. The only thing that's really shared is, the platform and the engine and the powertrain and a whole bunch of other things. But the things that matter to someone buying this car, a luxury SUV, is the look, which it has, and it looks fantastic, and the feel on the inside to make it sportier. Your seating position's a little different, everything's laid out a little different, everything feels sport and go rather than ultimate luxury of the regular Range Rover. And so when you're thinking about which one to buy, do you want something that's a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more sporty, or do you want ultimate relaxation and luxury? And that helps you decide which one to get. So Range Rover Sport, all new for 2023. This one is in this gorgeous satin gray. It's a matte, and it's the only matte color that you can get currently on the Range Rover Sport without getting into the SV Special Vehicles Edition. Starting from the front, it looks a lot like the prior Range Rover Sport, but they have nipped and tucked everything, and it just feels a little bit smoother everywhere. The A-pillars here are much steeper than they are in the Range Rover, so this is a little bit more aggressive, and the rear roof slants down much more aggressively as well. So there's no 3-row, no 7-seater version of this. It's a 5-seater only. And I really like the exterior look. It just feels a little bit sharper. It feels a little bit more aggressive. It's not overstated because it is still a Range Rover, but it lives up to that sport name. And if you put them next to each other, it's easy to tell that the Range Rover and the Range Rover Sport are siblings. But you can also tell that this is quite a different vehicle. And this one has about 400 horsepower, hence P400, and also 400 pound-feet of torque. It's got plenty of get up and go, and we're going to test that here in a moment. There is also a V8 version that has a 4.4-liter twin turbo V8 from BMW, and that makes 523, something like that, horsepower. I drove that in the Range Rover. That has tons of power, but it really isn't necessary. The smaller engine here is terrific. And then there is going to be a plug-in hybrid one as well that will have this engine and will get about 48 miles of all-electric range, which is terrific. That's one of the best, and I'm going to drive that here in a bit. But for this video, we're driving the regular one, the inline 6, and put my foot down and it's happy to take off. It's got plenty of power, 400 horsepower. I don't know why you would need more. And actually, I like this engine a lot better than I like the V8. The V8 I feel like is a little bit too noisy. It's too aggressive. This is a Range Rover. I want luxury. Now, the Range Rover Sport, I will say, the V8 is a little bit better in it. It's a little bit more appropriate for this, for having such a sporty vehicle. The V8 is good, but I still like this better. It feels smoother to me. It's the power is a little bit more predictable. I just like it better, and you do get a little bit better fuel economy as well. Though if you're buying a $90,000 Range Rover Sport, fuel economy is not going to be at the top of your priority list. The interior I really like, and this does actually feel quite a bit different from the Range Rover. There's a few things that are shared up here, the vents and things like that, but for the most part, the layout is rather unique to the Range Rover Sport. I do find Land Rover steering wheels a little bit difficult to figure out, and it's just because there's no labels. And so over here you've got a volume knob there, you can change the track, that's all great. Over here you've got a button that you press, and they're not really buttons, they're like soft buttons, and so that one can turn on the lane keeping assist, this turns on the speed limit assist, or just a regular cruise control, steering wheel heater. You can just set the cruise if you want and adjust the following distance, all those things. I don't love the way this is laid out. It's a little bit tricky to use, but that's okay. You do have flappy paddles here because, it's a Sport and you might want to change, I don't know why you would, but you could, change gears yourself. Down here in the middle, I like these. Great big screen. You've got, your phone connected, and you can have apps, and it's got, Wi-Fi and all sorts of stuff. It does have wireless CarPlay, Android Auto, all that. And then you can go in here, and you've got all kinds of different apps you can go play with, and you can do like low traction launch mode, or valet mode, or dynamic driving mode. And so we can look at dynamic, and it'll let you change all the things. So everything's in dynamic right now. And then you can go get a stopwatch so you can do your lap time. And why would you do that? G-meter. Okay, that's super useful. Pedal graph to show how much pedal input you get. Why would you have any of that? I don't know, whatever. So that's all in there. Nav is good. The screen is gigantic, and when you do plug it in for CarPlay, that's really nice. There's a wireless charger right here underneath the big screen, so that charges your phone, and it does have a feature that is supposed to boost the signal that your phone can get, because you're inside this car, and it's a big metal box, and like the windshield has all these metal wires going through it because it's got a defrost function where it just heats the windshield from the inside like you do on the rear, just you can see through it. So it does supposedly boost your signal. I don't know if it works or not, but they say it's legit. I do like that there are actual knobs here to change the temperature. They do some other stuff too, so if you push it, then you can adjust the seat heating and cooling, and then if you pull it, you can adjust the fan. And so then you just push it again, and it goes back to the temperature. So that's okay, they're multifunction, that's kind of neat, but it is a little tricky to figure out where the seat heating and cooling is if you don't know where to look, but you push in on the climate controls. Then you've got some soft buttons down here that let you do things like sync the temperature controls or set it to auto, a few other things. You can go in here and press that, and then you can control the seat heat manually, you can do the cooling, all that, with stuff on the screen. Down here you get some more controls. You do have the shifter, which is starting to grow on me. I don't adore it, but it's okay. You just got to press this button on the front and pull back to go into drive, forward into reverse, and then there's a park button. You can just press P right there. And if you do just pull it back, it'll put it into a sport mode as well. And so it changes the throttle mapping, it just the shift points, all those things. Start stop buttons here. Volume knob for the stereo is here, and you can also adjust on the steering wheel. Over on the right side, you have the terrain response mode because, well, it is a Range Rover. You should be able to go off-road. Normally it's in auto and it's pretty smart, but you can go through and you can flip to dynamic or comfort or grass, gravel, snow or mud ruts or sand, rock crawl. There's all sorts of different options. You can just leave it in auto 99% of the time. And then you do have some buttons here to turn on the hill descent control. There's an adaptive cruise control for off-roading if you want to do that. It does have a 2-range gearbox, so you can actually put into full low-range mode and drive that around. Now this car has 23-inch wheels with basically Pirelli summer tires on it. Are you going to go off-roading? Probably not, but the amount of off-roading that anyone doing this car would do, it's going to be able to do it. So if you want to go up some dirt road or drive down the gravel path like we just did coming out of the place, it can do it, no problem. Some other interesting things in here, there's this little lid thing, right? And so that's there, and that's wood, and that's very pretty. And you push that out of the way, and you get cup holders. So what are you going to do? You're going to leave that pushed out of the way all the time. Why is it even there? But then in here you have the cup holders, so okay, that's nice. And then if you push that, you get this sort of cavernous space in here, and there's a wireless phone charger in there. That's where the key is. And then you've got some plugs, USB-C and USB-A down there, that you can plug your phone and things into, and then the cords come up out of here. But clearly they want you to use the wireless charger there and connects via Apple CarPlay or whatever to the thing. This is a little annoying that it doesn't like slide quite as nicely as I would like it to. It's a little tricky to move around with one hand, but let's be honest, you're just going to leave it open because that's where your cups are going to go. It does have 2 glove boxes over here, and there's buttons. It's digital glove box to open the top and bottom, so there's a good amount of storage in there. And the top one actually has a 12-volt power adapter over there, so if you want to plug something in, you can do that. Good amount of storage. Here you have a digital rearview mirror if you want that, and it's a very good one. The quality is terrific, and you got a couple settings and things you can change. Or you can flip this down, and it becomes a regular automatic rearview mirror that'll dim when it sees headlights, things like that. Up here, giant panoramic sunroof. You can control that and open the shade and close the shade, and then you've got a button there to actually open the roof itself, and it goes pretty far back. The roof opens almost halfway back over the rear passengers, which is pretty neat. Now, luxury has been a hallmark of Range Rover for a very long time, and that's no different here. You've got this nice Alcantara The seat leather is actually really comfortable, and this color, deep garnet, I'm not sure about. I don't love the dark interior color in this with the gray. I think maybe a lighter one might look a little better, but you know, people like what they like, so buy whatever you enjoy. But the seats are very comfy. These are much sportier than the Range Rover seats. They've got some nice side bolstering there, and you can make all sorts of adjustments to the seats to make sure you can get them comfortable and just how you like and all that. But it was about a 3-hour drive up here. We're outside Madrid, and it was incredibly comfortable driving out. Talking about the driving experience a little bit, they chose Spain presumably because the weather's really nice, but also the roads are quite good and they're very smooth. And the Range Rover Sport has a much firmer suspension than the standard Range Rover. No surprise there. It's supposed to be sporty and dynamic and handling focused and all that, but it's something to be aware of. It is a little bit rougher, but if you're on the very smooth roads of Spain, it's fine. They feel fantastic. However, if you get off of those roads and onto a little bit rougher side roads, the ride gets significantly bumpier. So if you live in Michigan or Massachusetts or, I don't know, who has bad roads? California? Everybody? I don't know. Just be aware that you're going to get jostled a bit, especially if you get the big 23-inch wheels. They look great, but it's a rough ride. So this is a mild hybrid, and one thing I don't love about this car is the brake pedal. The powertrain's really good, the brake is fine. 99% of people who buy this car are not going to care a bit about the brake pedal, but it is soft and spongy and not my favorite. The Range Rover hybrid was the same way. We'll see if that's true in the plug-in hybrid as well, but it's just something to be aware of, is that the brake pedal is just a little soft and squishy. But again, if you're buying this, you're not going to care, because you're not going to take it to the track, no matter what the G meter and the stopwatch and all that says. That's not going to happen. What you're going to do is you're going to take this and you're going to go to Whole Foods, you're going to go to Equinox to work out, you're going to go buy Lululemon, I don't know. I'm being super stereotypical about the people who buy this car, but it's a really good car. It's super comfy. It looks fantastic. I really like the engine. The Range Rover Sport is just a terrific, terrific vehicle. Now, there is lots of competition in the segment, Porsche Cayenne, things like BMW X5, stuff like that. But this one feels a little bit a cut above. The luxury is there, and it has a fantastic look. Range Rover it screams elegance and class, which is why people who need a little bit of elegance and class will buy it. I like all the touch points and the materials. The heads-up display is really good. That's showing bright, vibrant characters. This screen here is really nice. Oh, went over that bump a little fast and I got slightly jostled, I'll say. It's fine. It's not bad. It's not super rough. It's just gonna be a little bit rougher than a Range Rover is gonna be, which is no surprise. That's what the Sport means. I love Range Rover. I love the Range Rover Sport. And I really love this paint. This satin gray paint is phenomenal. It really is striking. I drove out here in the, I believe, Firenze red, and that was very striking as well, but I like the satin, I like the matte paint a little bit better. It's really, really cool. Now, this does have all the safety stuff, adaptive cruise, auto high beams, auto windshield wipers, all those things. It does not have any hands-off driving features, but it does have some lane keep assist and things like that. And when I put it into Sport and start hitting the twisty corners here, it actually handles incredibly well. One other thing to know about the performance of this guy is that it has rear wheel steering, which makes it feel much smaller than it actually is, and it's really quite impressive. And this thing can easily get up to quite fast speeds, even with the smaller engine. It's really impressive. And let's see, let's do a turn here. Nice sharp turn, really good at turning radius because of that rear wheel steer. I knew as soon as I got in the car and started driving it around that it had that, and it's a really nice addition that is new for this generation of the Range Rover Sport. So good on them for putting that in. And that's the 2023 Range Rover Sport. If you enjoyed this review, click here to get another one. Thank you so much for watching. Drive safely.